What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to romasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team. We are live Rhomas Men's Team. Ray, what's up, brother?
Hello, Wes. Hello, Phil. Just
Hello.
following up on our conversation on Friday about credit card debt, and we can actually revisit the issue because it was Phil and I who wanted to. That was the seed of the conversation, our discussion. So Phil, we talked about credit card debt as a topic on Friday. And Wes basically said, like, don't fuss about minimum payments, like where you're going to cut out of your budget in order to chip away at this thing. Focus on making as much money as possible. That will give you the liquidity to pay it off quicker than living monkish for 6 months as you slowly pay it down. I didn't think that was an adequate answer. Make more money is usually just Wes's answer for everything. And sometimes I get into this, easy for you to say kind of mentality. But anyway, I ended up selling a painting, made $600 and paid that towards my $2,000 credit card bill. So Wes was right in this narrow case that if I just focus on making money, that got me, closer to the finish line.
Dude, you have $2,000 on your credit. You don't even have a credit card bill, all right? You don't, what? What are you talking about? That's 1 month of income, dude.
I know, dude. That's why it's a longer conversation about the psychology of money and money discipline and stuff. Because if it's so easy, then why have I been carrying it around for 2 years at basically between $1,800 and $2,000 the whole time?
Yeah, Ray, feels okay if I throw something there?
Yeah.
So this is why I think projects are a mirror into your psychology. I think money is a big time mirror because it's so precise. You can count in such small units. And Ray, I think your response is perfect, right? It's like, I forget the guy's name, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of him, but he talks about thermostat, right? So you have an internal mental thermostat, and if you choose to hover at 80 degrees, that's where you stay. And Ray, you're hitting on it perfectly. It's like, hey, maybe 2,000 is not 20,000, but this 2,000 has been with me for the past 2 years, because somewhere in your psychology, your money thermostat is saying, yep, here's the acceptable level. It's acceptable to have $200 in my bank account. It's acceptable to have $2,000 in credit card debt. It's acceptable to owe my friends whatever. And so I think oftentimes about adjusting that thermostat. Phil, what's your take?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense for me. Like, because to me, the whole time I had, a decent job, I was always kind of proud of myself. I was like, oh man, like I've screwed up so much stuff in my life, but I've never gotten into credit card debt. And it's kind of cool that I've never done that, at least, of all this idiotic things that I've fucked up in my life. And then as soon as I lost my job, within a couple months, I had $20,000 in credit card debt. So obviously that wasn't really a value of mine. It was just, it hadn't happened yet. And I mean, I don't need I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying about like the whole just make more money. I mean, that's the thing. Like if I were to just pay the minimum payment, it would take me like 4 years or whatever to pay off my credit card. So it's already been
the minimum payment, you never pay it off. The minimum payment
No, mine does. Well, mine does pay off like $200, I think, or something. Like it's some kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but we agree
Yeah.
with you. The minimum payment per month is not a adequate response to getting out of credit card debt. You're wanting something. You would want to get out of that sooner. And I think that Wes, something you said in a different context applies here, right? Like one of these universal maxims is like your behavior like suggests that you've decided how much chaos you're willing to tolerate, right? And I can't remember, I think it might have been in the context of relationships, but it's true here too, right? Where carrying around $2,000 or $20,000 or whatever it is, or something in between, and there's people on this call who have more, and there's people on this call who have less. I've decided that is the amount of chaos I'm willing to coexist with or carry around. And for the last couple of days, I've been willing to talk about it because I think Phil and I are wondering, do we really want to like tolerate that much chaos? We've decided we don't want to tolerate that much chaos. And we're fed up with it.
I think to me like what I kind of lost my train of thought earlier. What I meant to say was like that when I lost my job and racked up all this credit card debt, the reason that happened is because I was feeling desperate. I wasn't actually desperate. I was feeling very desperate, and I allowed that to become an option to pay for my bills. You know, I allowed the credit card to become an option in my mind, and that's the way my mind works. Is I'm always like certain things I do actually have values on, and I'm pretty like hard line about like no, I don't do that type of stuff. I'm not that kind of a scumbag. But then a lot of things that I know I don't want to do, I allow myself to do. I'm really like in my mind, I'm like giving myself, you know, excuses or whatever reasons to be okay with doing these things that I know are not good. And then, you know, credit card became one of those things. So now, and I still sometimes to use, you know, I'll pay off a minimum pay. I'll pay off the minimum payment, which for me, for some reason, you know, it's not just interest. It does pay off some. It pays down the credit card like $300 to $400 or whatever. So then I have $300 to $400 of credit card limit that I can use if I feel like it, you know. And that's why my credit card's still maxed out at $21,000 because I've paid that. I haven't even chipped away at it a few $1,000 because I keep using it, you know.
Same.
Because I've put that in my mind in the category of thing that I'm allowed to do now, you know.
Yeah, and Phil, I'd like to push back on one word that you used there. Do you know what word that is?
No, actually, what is it?
You said I'm not one of those scumbags or something, and like having credit card debt or having bad money discipline doesn't make you a scumbag or me a scumbag. Like you're a scumbag for different reasons. I'm a scumbag for different reasons because of the way I look at women, like every woman in a coffee shop or a gym or at the bus. Like that's why I'm a scumbag. But like the credit card debt, like I just wanted to push back on you on that. We're awesome guys on this group, and we have credit card debt, and we're here to include that in the path of progress, remedying that.
I think maybe this is just kind of, you know, this has been a consistent kind of disagreement between you and I. I kind of think we just sort of see things differently on this, and that's fine. But like I mean, what if instead of it was a credit card, I was taking money from a loan shark? Like that would be a scummy thing. It would be a weird thing to do. It's an extreme lifestyle choice, right?
Yeah, like, I mean,
you know, and taking like really when you think about it, honestly, in my opinion, I kind of really feel like now that I've fucked myself over in this way, I honestly have kind of gotten to the point where I feel like I don't really think credit cards should be legal for random people who don't understand the risks. You know, maybe if you want to get a license to use debt or whatever, then fine, maybe debt is good. But I kind of think credit cards should be illegal almost. They're really pretty disgusting thing to do. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think credit cards, machine guns, and doctor-assisted suicide are all like should be in the same category. Like you should get a doctor's note before you do it. Any of the above. But and whether we use scumbag or not, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the same thing where we're talking about behavior that we do that does not serve us anymore, right? And so, Wes, what do you think of the idea that when Phil and I pay down $200 off of our credit card bill, our psychology is, okay, I've got 200 of walking around money,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, so to Phil's point, I land in Phil's camp with the scumbag thing, but let me put some disclaimers around it. I think that each man to identify what terminology motivates him the most, and it's going to be on the spectrum. Now, where I disagree is if somebody says, "Okay, well, hey, Ray, you're a scumbag for doing this thing." Do you know what I mean? Um, what comes to mind is like what you don't hate, you will tolerate. That whole saying, and I think what happens oftentimes when we talk to friends, that to coddle that person, right, to comfort them to a certain degree, they'll say, "Hey, man, you're not a scumbag. You're not a scumbag. You're not a scumbag." The potential problem with that could be, well, then Phil thinks it's like, oh, okay, well, hey, I'm a good guy, right? This is not a big deal. Ray has the same thing, and my buddy has the same thing, and so on. So it dilutes the terminology, therefore dilutes the emotional response, and then dilutes the action that extends from it. So my vote is like Phil used whatever language he can to hate the circumstance enough, to hate his behavior enough, to hate the circumstance enough to actually do something. Um, Now, I do think there's a trick there. If you like, it's kind of like the Goldilocks zone. If you go too far to the right, then the terminology is too diluted, so it doesn't sting enough. If you go too far to the left, it's you hate yourself, and therefore you beat yourself into inaction because you become inert. It's just like learned helplessness. So I think it's like whatever terminology works for you. That's right in that Goldilocks zone of like, okay, I hate this enough to actually move. So I hope that makes sense. Phil, does that feel justified?
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense, and I think that what you just said is yeah, I mean, that's true for me. Like a lot of times, the stuff that I am so negative about is just excessive. It's not reality anymore because it's too far. So yeah, for sure, staying in the right
Yeah,
Goldilocks zone.
yeah. And then Ray, to your original point. So I just want to make it clear for everybody about my personal opinion. I actually think you should work on both sides of the ledger, the spending and the making. Because I could certainly tell you that I've worked with enough individuals who are like ultra wealthy who still have a crazy amount of debt that they should not have, right? So it's like I'm also not suggesting, oh, you can just out make any problem, any bad habit that you have. I mean, we've all heard of the professional athletes of the world who've made hundreds of millions of dollars and they've blown it all on gambling or debt, etc. So I definitely think both sides of the ledger should be worked on. I also think that who are in the category that we're talking about, we're not making hundreds of millions of dollars, right? We're also not, many of us are not gambling 95% of our life savings away on a weekly basis. I just think I wanted to raise the awareness on the conversation of like, if you make $30,000 a year, I'm telling you, it's going to be very difficult to pay off a $20,000 credit card bill. Like almost like the degree to which you can cut to the bone on a $30,000 a year salary is very minimal. It's micrometers. Do you know what I mean? But the distance that you have to grow in income from $30,000 to infinity is unbelievably. It's an enormous opportunity. So anyway, I think that a bit of clarification. So at our level that we're referring to, I think a lot of emphasis should be making on how do you contribute more value to society and therefore make more money. Right? What's your take?
Agreed, Wes. And I think this conversation will be most useful if to the greatest number. It'll be the greatest use to the greatest number if we focus on that scenario where the guy doesn't make enough money, where that $20,000 debt, $30,000 income. I think I would love to hear your just like a deep dive, a drill down on that, because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the guy who makes $1 million a year and but finds himself spending more than that. No, we're talking about people who like barely getting by with a huge debt, and the hopelessness that comes along with that. Right. So bore down into the spending and did you say spending and the making? You got to focus on both, or did you say saving and the making and focus on both? It's kind of the same thing, but which did you say?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So it's funny. I just gave a talk at last week. We had an investor conference, and these people have, the room collectively, you could imagine how much capital, is invested in between all these people. And I said, look, every single one of you in this room, and they're all of our clients, so I know what they invest. It's like every single one of you in this room are sophisticated to an outsider's perspective, but we all know that all of us stick to the fundamentals, and that's making money, saving money, and growing money. That's it. But those are the three variables that we were able to pull on those strings. And I can tell you a bunch of people came up after the talk, and a bunch of people were like nodding their heads during it. It's like, because they know that's the game. But the people who haven't made that type of money yet think that it's something special, right? So again, making money, saving money, growing money, super, super simple. So right when I say there's two sides of the ledger you can focus on, right? It's the making money side and it's the saving money side. We're not talking about growing money in this particular conversation because that's investing and so on. So we're talking about credit card debt.
And so, those are in that order for a reason, right? Making money, saving money, growing money.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they are sequential for sure. But the reason I want to surface the dual ledger here is because the risk of me saying, hey, just go out and make more money, right? Well, then the guy could be like, okay, yeah, like I'm going to buy these extra things on my credit card because Wes said, right, like reinforce the idea. Well, I just have to out-offense this problem. It's like, yeah, but that also means you don't keep on digging the hole, right? You stop digging. So because we all know that there's a really good chance that if any of us have credit card debt, we could export the transactions for the last 6 months, and we damn sure could see the non-necessity items on that list, despite how dire our circumstances were, that our brain wanted to defend. Hey, I'm out of a job. I need this thing, and so on. It's like, okay, cool.
Wes,
let's export it.
It's kind of an escape, isn't it? It's kind of like a drug or a drink. The
100%.
way that I use it, or maybe the way Phil uses it, is like, for sure for me, when I pay down 10% of that debt, so I go from 2,000 to 1,800, then I have $200 to feel like a human again, to spend money, like, to just tap the card and just kind of cosplay as someone who's got expendable income.
Well, dude,
right?
What you just said is perfect, because what all of our stuff comes down to, our execution or our lack thereof, comes down to, in my opinion, the actual linguistics we're using in our head. And you just gave me a little bit of insight, Ray, if you don't mind me saying that. I would not be shocked if you use that one-liner, right? Hey, I'm going to go and spend this money, right? Even though that's probably not what we say. I'm going to go and buy that thing because I want to feel human again. I felt like a freaking slave dog while I was paying this thing down. And now, which is a version of, I deserve this. And how many goals are lost to the I deserve this, to the mediocre thing at the expense of the big long-term goal?
Yeah.
So does that make sense at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely like that, especially like after I've worked super hard. This is how it feels in my head. Work super hard for like one day of 10 hours of work. I definitely feel like I deserve. Or God, damn, it's so fucking that sucks ass to fucking say that out loud. But yeah, I definitely feel that way. And it's crazy to me looking at my debit card bill and just being like, man, those $10 payments add up fucking really fast. They turn into $100 and $1,000 extremely fast. Yeah, that's definitely it. And it's I was just watching this crazy. I watched this little YouTube video yesterday about this like scheme. This guy who's an extremely skilled poker player or whatever. And it was just interesting. They're talking about this like this kind of cheat that he found to make a ton of money this one day, just take a bunch of money from casinos. But it was just interesting talking about him. When they were talking about him, I realized like he's even though he's an incredibly talented poker player and he can win tens of millions of dollars in tournaments and stuff, he also is just a degenerate gambler. He literally is a degenerate gambler, and he thinks like a degenerate gambler because he'll win $10 million in a tournament and then he'll go lose $1 million playing dice. Like he'll literally immediately after the tournament go to the casino and lose $1 million because, as he said this in his own little voice clip. He said, "It clears my mind," and it's like, dude, doing hair clears their fucking mind. You're liar. It doesn't clear your mind. It's you have anxiety, and you have a bunch of mental stuff going on that you're not dealing with. Dude, rolling dice doesn't clear your mind. Like that's such bullshit.
Yeah, dude. And so, Wes, what
does any of that
mind?
resonate with you, Ray?
Oh hell yeah! Can you hear me?
The whole like internal monologue.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like, and the language I use, like, and it resonates with me because of the 12-step recovery that I do to stay alcohol free, low these past 10 years, and drug free, low these past 3 years. Like we use language like you have to be okay. We use language, and the language that I've tailored for me that works for me. Like back to that subject of like what language fires you up and motivates you. I have to be okay with reality. Okay, and if my credit card's at 90% and I feel like I can just tap and like get an $11 mochaccino at Starbucks or whatever, that isn't living. That behavior is not congruent with the reality of the situation. Right. So even more than just being cool with reality or being okay with reality, it's like I'm called to be like fearlessly committed to reality, right? Radically, radical, like the word radical comes to mind in terms of like radical candor or whatever. Right. And then when you said I deserve that is the mental kind of conversation, I thought of a child's sense of entitlement. I deserve a cookie.
Yep.
Because I sat in my chair for 5 minutes and didn't pull out my wiener, or run around or break anything. And then, so the language that might work for me is that I'm keeping this, the child's alone in that scenario, maybe a parent's there, but like paying down the credit card. And we're going to basically, we can't, by the way, we're not publishing this episode. Being a grown-up, being mature, and being a man is what I want you guys to do right now. And like financial discipline.
Out of all examples you could use.
Financial discipline. Let me know when you've caught up with me, guys.
Sorry, I'm good. I'm ready.
What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to rhomasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team.
I think like financial discipline for me has to be equated with being a grown-up, being mature, being sober, being a man, being a provider, planning for the future. Those kind of words, that's my version of scumbag, or that's the mental language I use. I think is going to work for me because staying drug and alcohol free low these past years, what really works for me is like I need to grow up. I need to be a man. I need to just stop being a slave to my urges. And I need to be a good father for Thea. So I think maybe if I try starting using the same language when it comes to my credit card, that might be a mental model that works for me.
The thing also to me, I totally agree with everything you just said, but to me, like the thing for me that's more fundamental is these things don't solve the problem anyways. Like that's the real thing to me is like I have a little bit of a shopping addiction, which I got from my mom, and I have a little bit of like food cures anxiety type of bullshit in my mind type of thing. But it's like it doesn't. It literally does not. It doesn't work. Um, it's a distraction, sure. It sometimes works as a distraction. A lot of times it doesn't even work as a distraction. But um, like the idea is just not true. Like the idea in my head that like this thing cures the problem, it doesn't work most of the time. So I don't know. It's like to me that for some reason to me that's like the most important thing is that like the fundamental problem is I have some emotional issues going on and I'm trying to solve them with this thing that doesn't solve them. So I should stop doing that. It's like going to therapy if therapy's not working. It's like, well, I got to try something else.
Yeah, man. And I know I bring this up a lot, but uh, that's why I'm going to start thinking about it using the same language that I used to say drug and alcohol free. Because with 12-step recovery, we don't say quit drinking and your life's perfect, right? We say quit drinking and then think about the emotional reasons why you hid inside that bottle. And so what I'm hearing from you, Phil, is like you get rid of that credit card debt, you still can identify the problem when it comes to food and spending as like medicating some kind of like, and whether it's spiritual malady you have or insecurity or anxiety. And so I think 100% we should get that credit card paid down, you and I, but also like better understand why we spend to feel valuable or to feel validated or whatever, and why we eat to feel valuable. And Wes with his like just spend less, earn more. Wes, I want more from you in terms of that other stuff. Granted that spend less and earn more is agreed upon with everyone in this conversation. I want to hear more from you on the psychology and
yeah,
from what you understand.
Well, yeah. So I think one thing that we're missing, right, is like if we again let's put this conversation on a spectrum. If we go too far on the side of spend less, earn more, you dummy, right? And just never take any rewards at all, right? And just become a robot, right? And the problem with that is it doesn't work. I actually think if we change one variable here, it's super simple. And I've done this for myself. I'm doing this literally right now as we speak. Define the reward and the timeline for the reward and the prerequisites for the reward. Okay, when I do this, then I will do this. Okay, so when I pay off the $2,000 of credit card debt, you know what? I am going to go out and I'll buy myself a $60 dinner at whatever, right? Because again, as we've said before, like that's a project, right? And as a man, in my opinion, men grow themselves off of projects, habits, and actions. So if we have a project, okay, I'm going to pay off my, maybe for Phil, it's every $5,000 I pay off, I'm going to go and spend. I've earned $100. You define it for whatever you want. And man, that to me puts that right like Venn diagram in there where it's motivating. And then I do still get to say the line like I've earned it. But the fact that it's premeditated, you're able to think with a clear head of what it actually means to earn it, as opposed to any random day when I feel like today I just worked hard because that's what my emotions say. I just don't buy that, or I don't think it's as productive as it could be. At the same time, I don't think we should throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, okay, just remove rewards from your life. Ray, what's your take?
100% agreed. And what are the 3 R's, Wes? Reward is in there?
Mind, routine, reward. Mind, routine, reward.
Yeah, and so I think that right, that comes to mind in terms of the scheduling the reward in the right place in order to reinforce that that cycle. but also something that comes to mind is that's a risky. Again, the spectrum. There's a healthy way to do things and an unhealthy way to do things. And there's an. Do you want to just clarify the unhealthy version of I don't get to do X until I do Y? Because like I don't get to be happy until I get an MBA, get a job on Wall Street, marry a fashion model, get six-pack abs. Like there's an unhealthy way to do that, right? In that the reward never comes.
Right. And this is where it comes back to, like, and as many times as we've heard this, I really do think the happiness is in the progress, is in like the pursuit of the thing. Because I think what happens is oftentimes like, right, you don't need the car to be happy. You don't need the X to be happy. I mean, we all know that to a certain degree, but if we remove that X factor, if we remove the car, if we remove the woman we're pursuing, if we remove the job we're pursuing, etc., then you have no journey, and therefore you have nothing to make progress towards, unless you're like able to be like Buddhist monk style mentality. Good luck, because if you've ever tried that, right, like my personal view is you might be able to maintain happiness for about 5 minutes, until then you notice the other buildings of chaos are just collapsing around you. Hey, I'm happy. These credit card debt collectors keep on calling me. I'm happy, right? These girls keep on rejecting me. Now they won't even look my way. I'm happy. I swear I'm happy. I have no job. I swear I'm happy. Oh, I've got this rash on myself now that I can't afford to go to the doctor with. I swear I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? Like all of these things. And then you wake up one day and you realize you just accumulated such an amount of what you're calling, financial debt, karmic debt, spiritual debt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, well, how about you just try the other method? Set a goal and make progress towards that goal. And don't assume that you won't be happy during it until you actually have given it a shot of pursuing the progress towards it. And I would dare say to actually achieving it. Be happy for quite some time, like during large dips of that process. But damn, when you make progress, dude, I don't know, Phil, what's your take? When you make progress on something towards something you've defined as important, and then when you achieve that thing, I don't know, call me crazy, but like it's tough for me to think of a different version of happiness.
Yeah, for sure. My problem is that like definitely that is definitely true for me too, but like my self-hatred gets in the way a lot. Like I have a hard time feeling those things without immediately start feeling like I'm a idiot or a loser or whatever, stuff
Scumbag.
like that. And so, but yeah, when it happens and I don't, destroy it for myself, and it's the best ever. Especially making progress for sure. Especially learning stuff is really fucking cool when when there's something that I've been confused by about with programming or with working on, video games or whatever, like it, and I finally get something that's pretty good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what Paul is saying in the comments. It's like, I just want to put a freaking dagger through the idea. I don't know, once you're above the age of 5, you should understand that, yeah, when I get the trophy, I don't just stop. Like what do any of us on this call believe that, oh, once I earn one trophy, that should provide me, I earned one trophy when I'm 17 years old, and therefore I've earned eternal happiness until I'm 110.
And Wes,
I don't think anybody
Dude, you know what? Dude, you know what though? Like I do feel that way. That's the thing. I know that I don't intellectually think that, but I emotionally want that. Like that's how I feel a lot.
That's a good
a lot of the time. I constantly feel like I want to stop working. I want to stop doing this shit. I feel that a lot. I feel that almost every week. At the end of the week, especially, I'm like, I can't fucking keep doing this horse shit anymore. I need this to be
you need to make this all go away. Yeah, and Wes, yeah, you said the word happy about 25 times today, and I think that when I So when I made a $500 down payment on my paying down of the credit card on Friday, I didn't feel happy. Like I felt something better than happy, right? Which is now happy. We think like emotionally, like Phil's saying, we think happy is the goal, right?
Mhm.
But I've like when I'm thinking about it, I felt this sense of satisfaction, or I felt this sense of it wasn't as good as happy, but like I did like, God damn it, I know I have to do this. This is the right thing. I'm gonna do it. And it's like I don't know what the word is, but it's like mastery over one's urges. Like doesn't feel as good as happy, right? Long term, it pays way bigger dividends. But that is like again, like I don't know if there's a way to emotionally train myself to seek that more than happiness, or if it'll never be feel as good as happiness, you know. But like that was the emotional reward or payoff for paying down more than the minimum.
What I could tell you is this is the prescription that I follow. If anybody else gets value from this, then please steal it from me. My preference is to replace the word happy with semi-satisfaction. And I could tell you that on the surface, that might sound unhealthy to people, but I could tell you it's been one of my cheat codes that I've used for probably a lot longer than 20 years actually now. I'm addicted to the feeling of semi-satisfaction. And then I have a ritual like you and I have already talked about. Like anytime I achieve a big result, a big trophy, etc., I pour a glass in a Scotch glass, specifically a glass of iced tea and ice. I only fill it up halfway, and for me, that's my trophy. And that is it goes up halfway. The reason for the Scotch glass and everything is because when I was a child, somehow I linked up like the successful man is the guy sitting back in the seat, cross legs, has a cigar, and has a half glass of scotch, right? Like, or a glass of scotch. And that's him encapsulated as successful and powerful, etc. So I don't drink. So now to symbolize that, I pour myself a half glass of iced tea. It looks like scotch. And the reason I do it halfway is because it's like, this is to remind me, right, that you still have more to go, right? So it's like, take your trophy, but only be semi-satisfied with it and get on to the next thing. And I don't know that I would define that as happiness, right? I don't know, but I could tell you that feeling of semi-satisfaction keeps me freaking hungry all the time and therefore engaged. And I would think therefore happy. Or maybe
right.
I'm so engaged, I don't have time to feel like to even think about whether or not it's happiness or what, but I'm like, I'm in the game. Do you know what I mean?
And I like how you use the word engaged, because I think for guys like me and maybe guys like Phil and me, happy means disassociating, right? Happy again, like drugs, alcohol, the use of the credit card. It's like we get to disassociate. We get to elevate her out of our shitty lives or our anxiety or our low self-image or whatever it is. And so by steering yourself towards the goal of semi-satisfaction, you don't disengage, right? You're still just semi-satisfied. You're not taking a year off, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're still engaged.
I would almost wonder if all of us as men adopted the like, are you engaged, right? Are you in the game versus are you happy? I mean, Phil, from your occupation, it sounds like you can relate to that, right? Like how many of us men like to play video games? I don't know that they would define it as like, oh yeah, I'm happy when I'm playing my video game. Maybe they would, but it's like, well, I don't know that I would define it as that. I would define it like when I'm playing video games, I'm just engaged in the game. I'm in the game, and therefore I'm satisfied. So Phil, what's your take?
Well, it's complicated. I mean, but I mean, I think that engagement is a lot of what we want out of life, is to be engaged. Like, there's this really cool guy who wrote this unbelievably dense and complicated but interesting lecture series called The Awakening from the Meaning Crisis. And his whole thing is that we're going through a severe meaning crisis right now, where a lot of people feel like their lives are meaningless and yada yada. And he tries to, the first few episodes, he tries to talk about what is meaning and where does it come from. And without going on a whole thing about that, one of the things he mentions is he says rock climbing has become extremely popular right now. Like in the last 10 years, rock climbing has kind of exploded as a sport. And he thinks the reason for that is that rock climbing is like is an extremely direct form of meaning, because rock climbing is problem solving in a more direct and physical and visceral way than almost anything else you can go do right now. And it's interesting, just thinking about that, because it's like you're using your body to hold you up. There's this fear of falling and stuff. There's this problem solving aspect to it. And when you're doing it, there's nothing else to distract you. There's nothing else to do. You're just kind of, you're doing this thing. You're kind of just making progress. It's almost just like, I don't know. It's like, it's just like this very hyper specific form of making progress in a sense.
I also, and not to to like try to sell the concept here of engagement. I also wonder, Phil, if it's one of those things where it's like it requires 100% focus and engagement. It reminds me of that documentary, which I recommend everybody watch, about that crazy dude who like free soloed like all these mountains. He was arguably the best free soloer on the planet. And he was diagnosed with, I think, like severe ADHD, which is very interesting because like, how does this kid who's diagnosed with severe ADHD, meaning the inability to focus at the highest levels, is then able to do something that requires arguably the most focus that one could have as an occupation, right? Like,
I think the answer is, Wes,
wall.
The answer is like he figured out how to unlock the gift of his bundle of of skills, right? Which otherwise would have been seen as a disability, right?
Well, I wonder to think out loud with this stuff. Like it's the degree to which we are engaged is like is almost in parallel, right? Like to the degree that we are challenged, right? It's like so the engagement has a direct relationship with the challenge at hand. And I think oftentimes what happens with us men is like, unfortunately with life, it's a little bit different. First few levels of the game, you get those out of the way when you were a child. When you're an adult, it's hard because those are like the monotonous jobs, the tedious jobs, the boring jobs, and so on. And so you kind of have to dig your way out of like those first few boring levels. No different than like a sometimes really good books. It takes the first like 4 or 5 chapters to really get into it. The problem is in real life that might be 4 or 5 years, and a lot of people just feel like they're just stuck there. Oh, I can never get out of this game. I'm going to be a janitor forever. I'm going to be I'm going to be an asphalt layer forever. It's like, no, that will be the case if you decide it, or you don't decide to climb up. But I think that's often the problem, is it's hard to be engaged in those first few levels and hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, because those first few levels in actual real life can be multiple years. Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to feel like it's real when you can't tell if you're making progress or not, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. What are you going to say?
It's a feedback loop issue, I think, Wes, right? Where the rewards, like you have to, like Christopher Columbus, right? Like you have to leave Europe and it disappears behind you before you get to have the new world, right? And so when you're in the middle of the ocean and you're like, what's the point of all this effort I've put in? I still don't see the goal, right? That's what comes to mind for me, which is what you call long feedback loop kind of behavior, activities.
Which is why I think it's really important for a man to define his milestones in advance, and enough of those milestones where Jordan Peterson talks about like the zone of proximal development. If they're too far, if it's a 20-year goal, good luck, because there's so many like wins that could change, so many circumstances where you're not going to feel like you're making any progress because the goal is so long duration. But if it's every if it's every $200, right, then you get that dopamine hit at just a right duration to where it's like, oh, okay, I'm on the right path. But then the challenge is also not to make those too short. Oh, for every $2 I make, I'm going to buy a $20 Starbucks, or I'm going to buy a $20 dinner, right? Then you've reversed the incentive. You've inversed the progress and the feedback loop. Phil, what's your take?
My take is that Ray's talking about $2,000. Can you have this done in a month, please? Like,
yes,
Jesus
I can.
Christ, man.
Yes, I can.
$2,000.
Yeah,
What's
yes, I
wrong
can.
with you, dude? Pay it off.
Well, that's
Do
another
Uber,
approach, I guess.
Drive Uber for 1 month, dude. Jesus Christ. You don't even have a credit card. I have $21,000. All right.
Wes,
That was a great response. I guess that's another approach.
My minimum payment is a quarter of your total. You fucking
Wes.
Well, so this is actually a good pattern.
Can you apply the same? Can you apply the same approach to him now, Wes? Thank you.
Well,
Ray, can you please have this gone in a month, please?
Yes,
dude.
sir. No, Phil, I appreciate your encouragement, and I 100% accept the challenge. I 100% accept the challenge. I 100% accept the challenge.
Well, so here's an interesting pattern you guys are highlighting. It's so cool to
Wes,
be around.
No, sorry, Wes. It's your turn to attack him in a similar manner and create a deadline and a quantity for him.
We're talking about minimum wage income for a month pays
Wes,
this off.
Wes, I'm still waiting for you to. Are you're just letting him? Is there no time limit on his abuse?
No. So here's the cool thing, right? This is the benefit of being in a circle of dudes, because what can be so challenging, and the only challenge is in the one guy's head, can be so obvious and easy to another person.
Yeah,
of
course.
Because and to Ray, to bridge the gap here, I can also tell you, Phil, the same thing, right? Like, how do I say this? And somebody else could say this to me, to Ray's point, right? There's always going to be a next level where it's like, oh, dude, that's right. Like, you're so much better and bigger than that thing.
Let me hear it.
No, I mean, it's the same thing. It's $20,000 extra, honestly, in a couple weeks is way easier than any of us.
Thank you.
Do you know what I mean?
And
that's the thing, right? Like Phil, when you get to the next level, it reminds me of a pattern. They say that my industry that I'm in is the hardest to make 50,000, but the easiest to make 500,000. It's this really weird graph, But I actually think that applies to a lot of industries, right? Like, the hardest is in the beginning, and the beginning happens to be a few years. So people end up like climbing, but they don't reach the next rung. So then they just change careers, right? So they stay in this perpetual beginning phase. But I could tell both of you, yes, right? Like, the great news is the numbers that both of you are working with, right, in both of our countries, you both can make substantially more than this. Like, you will look back on this time and be like, oh, I was $20,000 right now. I can tell you both right now, right? Like, I just candidly, I have $75,000 of debt that I've chosen. Like, I've literally chosen, and again, candidly, I could pay it off right this minute if I want to, but it doesn't make sense for me to do that. This is not financial advice I'm saying for me, right? The debt levels there at the interest rates that I have, in my view, are kind of no-brainers to keep, because then I can use my other capital to grow, et cetera, blah, blah, blah.
Very relatable.
So, yeah.
Very relatable, Wes. Thank you.
Well, like,
how about your capital?
Well,
Phil, do you want to talk about your capital allocation for a minute, or is everything in Cotango?
Yeah, I allocate capital all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was more of I was hoping for a comedic alley-oop there. But yeah, so Wes,
yeah.
I know what I have to do to anyway, I know what I have to do to make more money to pay this thing off. I can pay this thing off within a month, Phil. I can pay this thing off within less than a month. And Wes, again, I'm going to ask you differently, but for the same thing. Can you also let Phil have the power of the team, the accountability of the team, the power of the challenge, and challenge him in a similar way to what he did? Or will I do it? Okay.
Ray,
So
Ray,
Phil, okay, you know what?
But
You know
first,
this
wait,
this
can I say,
referee
destroy your
is
credit, dude.
useless.
Destroy your credit card.
Okay.
Cut your credit card out, dude. For real.
No.
Why don't you
Again, I'm talking.
I'm being for real though. Like you should do that though. Cut your credit card.
But secretly, I still want to spend on it, dude. You know.
I know, dude.
Well, okay. So you know what I think would be a cool equivalent challenge? Claim is that it's so easy to pay it off in a month. Then I would challenge you, Phil, to pay off in $2,000 increments.
Exactly.
Okay.
If I'm paying down,
right.
if I'm paying down 2,000 this month, why can't he pay down?
Let's make it a bet. All right, I'll fucking beat you. This easy.
Losing his mind, flying off the handle. The shoe don't feel too
good
on the other foot, does it?
Let's make it a bet. How about you pay off an extra $100 after I beat you of my credit card debt? How about you pay off?
See, Wes, we have. I think he's talking to you, Wes.
No, I'm talking to you, Ray. How about you pay me $100 after I beat you?
Wes, get some skin in the game here, buddy. What are you doing? Are you just sitting on the sidelines? Come on, man.
Okay, so.
Oh man, my heart is pumping. Wes, get in on this action, dude.
So I'll make a deal with you both. So, yes, I will pay your $100 debt to Phil if
No
Phil.
way, dude. No way. You don't own me. You don't own me, dude. Well, we're gonna get into the favor economy. Then
I will match. I will match your debt payment to Phil as an incentive to him.
Yes.
So Phil would get $200 of payment once he reaches his full. So with credit, the screenshot has to show zero balance in however many months from now, multiplied by divided by 2,000.
Wait,
Phil,
what?
you cool with that?
I don't even understand. What did you?
So assuming you pay your credit card down in $2,000 increments per month, because that's what you're saying is easy for Ray, right? Hey, okay, well then match it, right? So pay out $2,000 per month towards your credit card. So your credit card should be at zero in whatever. I don't know what the exact balance of your, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 10 months. But I was thinking of doing mine much faster than that. But no,
we have no problem with that. We have no problem with that.
Well, okay, I mean, let's just. There's a difference between spending $2,000 in 1 month versus $2,000 a month for 10 months straight. But
So then, Phil, when I pay my credit card down to zero, Wes, we can start another finance challenge for me that involves the same amount of money, 200. So, for example, we could as long as Phil and I are competing in this way, I have to come up with $2,000 and do something financially responsible with it, or save it maybe, or whatever it is.
I'm happy to do that as well, but let's just keep it simple also and say yours isn't zero before mine is what it's at right now, minus 2,000, minus whatever. What's yours at? Is it 2,000 or what is it at?
I think mine. I paid down 500 after selling that painting on Friday, so I believe it's at 1,500. I'm getting it to zero within a month. I'm going from 2,000 to zero within the calendar month of December. That is my goal. That's my goal. You can like put the, what do you call it in bowling when you put those things in the gutters? Like the
bumpers.
You can put bumpers on your content on your side of the competition if you need to, dude. It'll be like T-ball, unlimited swings.
What are the bumpers? Tell me.
So bumpers could be like inflatable, right? Like almost balloons that are put in the gutters of.
No. Tell me, Ray, what are my financial bumpers?
I didn't think that far ahead. I was just trying to insult you.
I know, exactly.
So Wes, can we go back to the Wes, the rule maker? So I'm going to pay my credit card down to zero within the calendar month, this month. And then Phil is going to try to do the same in the same amount of money. So let's say 1,500, and then going forward, the goal for him would be to pay down an additional 2,000 per month till it's gone. And after the calendar month of December, we can decide how we want to edit my challenge. For example, it could just be keeping the credit card balance at zero. I don't know, whatever it is. But for me, it's down to zero within the calendar month. And the power of the team, the accountability, the competition between brothers, that is what I'm going to lean into here.
Okay. So, so my contribution, Ray, if you do that, I will buy you, I'll send you $100 to be spent on, right, some sort of fancy dinner or something like that, right?
Headphones.
Like as a reward.
How about headphones, dude?
Well, I'll do that regardless if you want headphones.
All right. Okay. But you don't own me, and like I don't owe you anything, dude. And this is not. I'm not getting into the favor economy with you. Do you understand? Because we spent a whole hour on that topic 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay. So Ray, we have your challenge clear for the month.
Yeah. Pay it down to zero within the calendar month.
Oh wait, is it 1,500 Canadian? What the fuck? This is bullshit.
I get paid in Canadian. When I go to the grocery store and I buy lotion and kitchen paper, I'm paying in Canadian.
Damn, dude, I'm fucking just. All right, I'll still.
Dude, I can do. You think it's so hard to do USD? No. You know what? See the weasel. You see the weasel ears and the weasel tail growing on this guy.
What is 1,500 Canadian? That's like $1,000 or whatever. Like,
dude, a deal's a deal, bro. A deal's a deal.
All right, so Phil, what is your equivalent? Because I got to jet to a meeting. What's your equivalent, and we'll set it in stone.
Whatever raise amount is, it's minus that. I think it sounds like $1,500.
So whatever, yeah. So by the end of the calendar month, pay down 1,500 or whatever the exact amount is, and we'll get in and we can confirm that.
All right, so here's that's a fair challenge for now. We can re-up after.
I pay it down to zero. He matches. He matches that.
I said, we were saying 30 days, but if we're saying 20 days, then
we can say 30 days. I don't need 30 days. You can have 30 days.
Okay. All right.
There's your bumpers.
Well, and to be fair,
there's
the
your
amount was originally $2,000 that we've now just decreased to 1,500. So if you guys are cool with it, so can we have RA saying kitchen paper? I also don't know what kitchen paper is. So
just take a moment to try and figure it out, guys. Okay, and you figured it out. Okay.
So all right, so we're good with a $1,500 challenge on December 31st, and then if you both deduct your balances by $1,500. So Ray, if it gets to zero for you, and Phil, if you can take a screenshot of the deduction of $1,500, then I will send you both $100 to be spent. It has to be spent on something specific. Has to be spent on like a fancy dinner for each. Like that's the reward.
The reward,
not be
the
saved.
reward mechanism. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. All right. And I want a picture of that. Is that cool?
Deal.
All right, but I want. Okay, fine. I wanted Ray to lose, but whatever. That's fine.
I will, dude. Don't worry. This is the hard. Like you. This is something. What this is? Yeah. Something I have never accomplished in my life. So, I mean, my confidence is all just kind of like performative bravado. And yeah, you guys can look that one up too, okay? Kitchen paper, performative bravado. Love you guys. Got to go make some money.
All right, dudes. Love you too. See you on Friday. Later.